Hi, my name is Shohna and welcome to the Book Nook. I am sort of trying to start this YouTube channel / just make one video because I've never made one before. So I wanted to make a video on something I'm interested in, which is book reviews. Specifically, the genre that I gravitate to the most, or at least the age demographic that I gravitate to the most, is young adult fiction. So that is going to be primarily what I would focus on if I was to ever make more videos, which who knows. So I have had this channel, for me it was just like an account, open, I checked, since April 1st, 2006. So it's been 16 years and I've never made a video. I have wanted to make different kinds over the years, but never really knew how. Not that anybody is super concerned about that, but that's just a fact. So I've just been really thinking this year and last year, took me long enough, right? That I would like to make videos, if anything, on book reviews. That is like the thing that I'm interested in a lot, enough that I could make like more than one video on it. So maybe in the future, if I ever make another video besides this one, then there's a lot of places this channel could go. But for now, that's what I wanted to do for this one video, was do a book review on one of my favorite books. So to all 6 subscribers that I have who may see this video possibly, hello, for the first time ever. Welcome to my channel that'll actually have a video on it. So, okay. So, the book that I wanted to review for my first ever YouTube video book review is called Joust by Mercedes Lackey. It was published in, I will tell you in a moment, 2003. So, I would have been 11-ish at that time. That was actually around the time, maybe a couple years after that, that I somehow stumbled upon this book. Somewhere in my early teens, pre-teens, I stumbled upon this book in like a Goodwill or a used bookstore or something. And it is incredible. So I figured what I would do for this video, and maybe any future videos, is not just necessarily ramble on about how much I love a certain book or, you know, general thoughts about it, although that too, but to particularly rate it on certain categories that I think are important in a book. So, and then kind of give it like an overall grade of like A through F. Although if it's F, I probably wouldn't be reviewing it. But, so okay, so the quality of the writing, I would give that an A. This book is extremely well written. It does have some somewhat unexpected and even some might argue unusual typos, very occasionally, like random pound signs and random like keyboard symbols, but that's very minor editing, whatever. The point is, the writing of this book is excellent. It is shockingly good. I read a lot. I know that sounds super snobby. I don't mean it to be. I just do. And so over the years, like I would say I've been reading since I was maybe 5, 6 years old, same way as anybody else usually. My mom read to my siblings and me when we were younger. And so I guess that ignited in me a love of reading, and I just took off. So I've probably at this point read, I'm not sure how many books, a lot. And so one thing, like with many people that I've heard of, like my mom has said this too, like at a certain point, once you've read enough books, you kind of get a sense for writing quality, even pretty early on in a book, which I didn't really understand as a kid. Like as a kid, I would read anything. And even as a teenager, I wasn't super discerning as far as writing quality, like whatever, if it's a good enough plot, I'll be hooked. But like this is a book that has stood the test of time for me. I can't tell you how many times I've reread this book. Let's say 6 or 7 that I can think of in the last, let's say, few years. It's just one of those that's just good to pick up, you know, every year or two. It's just so good. You got to go back. So writing quality is just top notch. I could read you a sample, but I always get a little bored when people read samples of books on YouTube videos, whether they're doing a book review or not. So I'll leave that out. Just, it's really good. Okay. So friendliness to like children and teens. That's another thing that I rate books on, just in case any of the 3 people that watch this video, whoever that is, maybe there'll be less people that watch this video than that. You know, either you have kids or you know someone that you'd like to recommend it to that's a child or a teenager. I want to provide that kind of a family friendliness rating, if you will. This book I would give an A-. It is pretty clean, but it does have a few vague references that if you were an adult or perhaps a more cynical / worldly teen, you might understand what they're alluding to, but there is like no graphic, immoral, inappropriate things. I'm sure everyone watching this mostly understands what I'm talking about. So just as I should have given this recap earlier, just as a recap, this book exclusively follows the journey of, we'll say he's 11, an 11-year-old boy named Vetch who is a serf in clearly what is supposed to be a fantasy version of ancient Egypt. At least that's my perception. And so you might think, like, I'm pretty sure the actual genre of this book or the actual age demographic is adult, despite the fact that it's following this 11-ish-year-old boy. But I would rate it as friendly to basically all ages, including kids. Other than those couple of references, which the reason I still give it an A, even though it's an A-, is that if you're a kid, you probably wouldn't necessarily like understand what that's alluding to because it's pretty subtle. I know that I didn't understand, like, there are only a couple of them and I didn't even get them till I was like maybe in my teens or early 20s. So that's pretty good. So you can recommend this. If I was to give an age that I would for sure give this to somebody that I am almost certain they would enjoy it, it would be like age 12, 13. But I also would recommend this. I don't think I would know any adults personally who would be willing to trust me to read it, but if they did trust me to read it, I am certain they would enjoy it. Like, that is the quality of this book. I'd recommend it to all age groups. I just know a lot of times an adult may be like, random dragon thing, it's following an 11-year-old boy, that sounds a little lame, but it's super good. A child would enjoy it, a teen would enjoy it, a preteen would enjoy it, an adult would enjoy it. I would recommend it to everybody. Okay, characterization. The characterization in this book, I would give an A. The 2 main characters, besides the dragons, are the boy Vetch, the serf, and then what comes to be his master named Ari. I hope I'm not spoiling anything by saying that. And it primarily follows Vetch, but you also get to kind of, see snippets of Ari's life because Vetch is his serf or servant, whatever, and so he works with him a lot. No bad juju there, by the way. No bad juju. And the characterization is just fantastic. The only thing that might dip my recommendation to an A- for characterization is just the fact that you want more. You just want to know. The dialogue is so interesting, and not to sound sexist, but for a woman, this book has comparatively little dialogue. Most female authors that I've read, I'm not trying to sound sexist, just an observation, tend to be more dialogue heavy and less description / like task heavy, whereas this book is much more focused on descriptions and things and tasks and political intrigue and insights and so forth. And I'm just not used to that, maybe because I don't read a ton of adult books, and this is technically an adult book, I think. So anyway, you want more. You want more dialogue, you want more characterization. Everything is extremely believably written, and so you just want to spend more time with these characters. So I guess the only negative is also a plus. World building. So I know this is going to sound crazy, and if someone was to say this to me about a book, I would think this was lame. I would. The world building is incredible, and it is the #1 reason I recommend this book. I know that sounds crazy, and if someone said that to me, I'd be like, that sounds like the most boring book I have ever heard of. I understand, but you don't understand. The world building in this book is just beyond. It's just beyond. I can't even describe it to you. I can't. You just have to trust me and read it. And if you already read it, then you know what I'm talking about. So the world building is absolutely incredible. You feel like you're there. I've heard one thing that people have said, like different readers of Harry Potter, one of the things they love about Harry Potter is that the world building feels very real, feels very authentic, tangible. The suspension of disbelief is very easy as a reader because you feel like you are genuinely entering another world that is fully fleshed out. And that is how I feel about this world. The author, Mercedes Lackey, was just incredible in this book. I've read some of her other stuff, and honestly, for me, for whatever reason, I would say this is like one of her peak books. I'm not really sure how that happened or why, but this is one of her best in my opinion. But every level is very realistically drawn. Politically, socially, economically, intrapersonally, interpersonally, just everything is very realistic. There's description of gods that are clearly, I would guess, based on like Egyptian gods. You know, the religious structure with priests and different things seem very realistic. It's just very interesting. And as a Christian, I know a lot of times if you're a Christian or some other religious belief watching this video that may not feel comfortable discussing or, you know, heavily investing in a book about another religion, it just feels more like a part of the world. I wouldn't describe it as in any way, like, it didn't make me uncomfortable to read about it at all. And then plot, I would give the plot an A. It is very simple. Once you finish the book, you realize kind of how simple it was, but it's so engaging the entire time that that's not really a negative. It's more like it propels the story forward by its simplicity. It allows like the positives about the short story to shine. So, you know, some people have plots with plot twists and all kind of other different things. And I guess this one kind of has plot twists-ish, but it's more just exciting. It's more just engaging and interesting the entire time. So I would give the plot an A, because to me, the point of a plot is to be effective and engaging, not necessarily to have like certain requirements for like, you know, big surprises and gotchas and, you know, certain highs and lows. So overall, I would give this book an A. That's why I'm reviewing it. First book ever I'm reviewing. And I would say that this is a book that if you know, want a book to maybe engage what can be often termed reluctant readers, this is a super good book. Like if you have a child or teen that you know that like, you know, you would like to get them something to read, but you're really not sure what, but you'd like it to be clean, but you'd like it to be good quality, this is one. If you're looking for a book series to start, this is the first of a trilogy. I didn't know that at the time when I read it. That's very interesting. This is definitely your book to start if you're looking for that new series. If you're interested in dragons and fantasy, which tends to be one of I'm more heavy into that kind of thing, which is clearly why I picked up this book. It's super good. Dragons in ancient Egypt just sounds sort of bizarre, but it's also awesome. Okay. My 1-year-old daughter is crying, so I'm going to go ahead and go. Her nap is clearly over. But thanks so much for watching. If you got this far, I hope this isn't the worst video ever. If you have anything you'd like me to review, any recommendations that you'd like to get a review on, or any questions about particular books in certain genres that I might recommend, I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody watches this video, but I'm just going to be excited if I get it made. So this is Shauna signing off from the Book Nook. Hope you have a good day. Hope you get to read this book if you haven't already. And I'll see you later. Bye.